Bienvenidos a todos y todas a este espacio de formación y capacitación que es especialmente diseñado para nuestros maestras y maestras de inglés del país. El día de hoy vamos a tocar un tema muy importante que hace parte de nuestra estrategia de Masterclass, entonces los invitamos a estar muy atentos. Vamos a estar hablando de How to Design Engaging and Student-Centered English Language Learning Environments. Esta estrategia hace parte de Contacto Maestro, lo cual a su vez es una estrategia de formación y capacitación del Ministerio de Educación Nacional, donde periódicamente se realizan y se hacen pues actividades para los maestros y maestras de diferentes áreas a nivel nacional. Pueden ser conferencias en línea u otros eventos virtuales, incluyendo estas masterclasses. Recuerden que pueden consultar el cronograma de todos estos diferentes eventos en contactomaestro.colombiaaprende.edu.co. Estas masterclasses son un espacio innovador y colaborativo, y lo hace un espacio innovador y colaborativo esa participación de nuestros invitados especiales. El masterclass es una importante parte para nosotros, una importante estrategia para nosotros, porque contamos con expertos y especialistas en la enseñanza del inglés. Pero además, también tenemos participación de docentes del sector público. En este espacio nosotros podemos entonces integrar esa experticia, el conocimiento de la enseñanza del inglés de nuestros maestros, maestras, invitados y también nuestros especialistas. Y obviamente también contamos con esa participación de ustedes, nuestros docentes que están escuchando, bien sea en directo o en diferido, a través del chat. Recuerden que pueden usar el chat durante toda la sesión para que participen activamente, contesten las diferentes preguntas y también puedan hacer preguntas a nuestros expertos. El propósito de esta estrategia es analizar técnicas y prácticas, herramientas que pueden ser útiles para todos nuestros maestros y maestras a nivel nacional, especialmente en este momento histórico en que nos encontramos. Entonces, para hoy, contamos con unos invitados muy especiales. Tenemos los dos maestros, Elías Velázquez y Juliet Pacheco, que nos van a acompañar el día de hoy. También tenemos a nuestra especialista, Juliana Díaz, y como siempre, nuestro moderador, John Pulido. Entonces, ahora les voy a contar un poco más acerca de esta estrategia, el Programa Nacional de Bilingüismo y por qué el Masterclass es tan importante y hace parte de este esquema de desarrollo profesional continuo para la enseñanza del inglés en Colombia. Entonces, aquí podemos ver entonces en la próxima diapositiva que nuestro propósito de tener un programa de desarrollo, un esquema de desarrollo profesional continuo para todos nuestros maestros de inglés es lograr que a través de estas diferentes estrategias en realidad el inglés se nos vuelva ese vehículo de comunicación. Contamos entonces con espacios como esta Masterclass que es abierto a todos nuestros docentes para que siempre se unan a este espacio que son los miércoles semanalmente, de aquí más o menos a mediados de octubre, para que no se los pierdan. También tenemos acompañamiento y soporte pedagógico, donde podamos entonces ya afianzar estas prácticas o estas técnicas, estrategias a través de prácticas pedagógicas en el aula. También tenemos clubes de innovación y capacitaciones de diseño en proyectos de enseñanza de inglés con propósitos específicos, bien sea en turismo o en cuarta revolución. Y por último, contamos con cursos de inglés dirigidos a directivos docentes y maestros, no solamente de inglés, sino también de otras áreas. Estas estrategias de verdad nos ayudan a acercarnos a esa meta que tenemos desde el Programa Nacional de Bilingüismo, y es que en realidad ese inglés se nos vuelva ese vehículo de comunicación. Entonces, nuestras masterclass las desarrollamos tanto en inglés como en español. El día de hoy tenemos nuestra sesión en inglés, entonces voy a hacer ya el switch enseguida para poderles presentar a nuestra especialista del día. Igualmente los invito a que nuevamente consulten contactomaestro.colombiaaprende.edu.co. Recuerden que allí van a encontrar ese cronograma, no solo de los masterclasses, sino de todos los eventos que tenemos en el Ministerio de Educación Nacional, y también obviamente una invitación muy especial a que visiten eco.colombiaaprende.edu.co, donde pueden encontrar más de 3,000 recursos para la enseñanza y el aprendizaje del inglés. Tenemos muchos recursos de fácil descarga y esto se da gracias a nuestra alianza con el British Council, con la Embajada de Estados Unidos, Peace Corps y muchos otros aliados. Entonces, no siendo más, I'm going to switch to English. Juliana, welcome in today's session. Thank you so much for being with us today, and good luck in today's session. We hope to learn a lot.
Thank you, Tatiana. So, welcome, teachers. Good afternoon, everybody. For me, it's a pleasure to be here and welcome to this masterclass. This is an open space for to learn from each other, and teaching a second language, English, is a way in which we feel inspired every day. So we are trying to enhance all the time our teaching practices. It means that we have been facing a lot of challenges. For example, in the last 2 years, with the pandemic, we have changed our mind in the way that we teach English. So today we will learn some strategies in order to implement them with some tips and how to teach English in the two modalities, face to face and the remote modality. So, you guys are going to learn a lot related to three important strategies embracing the flipped learning approach. Welcome.
Hello, hello, good afternoon. Hello, Juliana. Well, my name is John Pulido. I'm the moderator of this masterclass. It's always a pleasure to be here and to know that you're there with us, listening to us, following this broadcasting session. Well, as Tatiana mentioned, this is a strategy by the Ministry of Education as part of the international cooperation agreement between the British Council and the Ministry. Also, it's part of the Inspiring Teachers 2.0 professional development program and the Contacto Maestro program. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. This is the first day of September. We're welcoming this wonderful month of love and friendship here in Colombia. And here we are broadcasting this eighth master class. Let us know where you are from. Okay, I'm checking the chat here right now. Okay, we have people from Pasto, teachers from Manizales, teachers from Antioquia. Hello, everybody. Let us know where you're from. Well, let me introduce our first guests today. This is the first section of the masterclass. And let me introduce Juliet Pacheco Lopez from Institución Educativa Villacielo from Montería, Córdoba. Juliet, hello. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Hi, thanks for inviting me. I'm so glad to be here with you. Thank you for this invitation. I'm willing to learn to share my experience with you today. I'm so glad. Thank you.
Okay, the pleasure is ours. Okay, everybody can see Juliet is a teacher in high school, right? And you've had experience in learning. Tell us something about yourself, Juliet.
Okay, about myself or about my teaching practice?
Okay, both. You can be both.
Okay, I've been teaching for 17 years. I like to read, to explore, to travel a lot. Um, I'm kind of curious. That's why I'm here today, because I want to learn. I like to be trendy and updated. I like to bring to my classroom, to my students, some activities that they think they are motivating and also new activities. Then that's why I'm here today. Um,
It's a well.
that's it.
Thank you very much, Juliet. Okay, so along with you, Juliet, we have another guest, another teacher, Eleazar Velázquez Garcia. He works at the Institución Educativa Ana Gómez de Sierra in Rio Negro, Antioquia. But Eleazar was born in Quibdó, Chocó. So Eleazar has the best of both worlds. Eleazar, hello. It's a pleasure to have you here with us.
Hello, John. How are you?
Great, amazing. I'm happy to have you here.
Okay, me too. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to have this opportunity to share this space. Okay, yes, thank you for the invitation. Um, and yes, I'm here to learn and tell you about some experience I have had in my school.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing, Eliezer. So Juliet and Eliezer are the two teachers who are with us today and who will be uh, working along with us, and of course our expert today, who I want to welcome right now. Okay, Eleazar. So let's welcome Juliana. Juliana is our expert today. I don't know if production can help me. Okay, here it is. Well, everybody out there, you're having the chance to read and to get to know who is with us today. Who is with us today? Juliana Diaz. I've
Hi,
known
John.
Juliana Diaz, let me tell everybody, for quite some time.
Yeah.
It's been a long time we haven't had a chance to work together, but here we are.
Yeah.
Education brought us together again, Juliana. Juliana holds a bachelor in ALT from Universidad Industrial in Santander, WIS, okay, and also has a certificate, ISELT, the ISELT? Did
Yes.
Okay, I forgot how to pronounce. Can you believe it? From the Cambridge University. She holds a master's degree in English language teaching and autonomous learning environments from the Universidad de la Sabana, where we used to work together. She's a full-time teacher and a researcher at the UNICA, Fundación Universitaria, okay? Ample wide experience as an English teacher, as a language teacher. I'm going to let everybody know that you are going to learn a lot from Juliana and from our guest teachers today. So, what's up? How are you? It's been a long time.
Yeah, thank you, John. It's a pleasure to meet you again after those years. I'm so happy to be here because this is a great opportunity to learn from teachers who are teaching English in a public sector. So, in addition to that, I have had some experience guiding, teaching, and training them in different perspectives. So, for me, it's a great opportunity to learn from them. Thank you.
Okay,
again.
and yes, and I guess that just you said it. You have experience in teacher training, and I guess that opens the door for our first section, testimonials. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so here we are. This is Laura Mora. She is a teacher from Santa Maria Goretti in Bucaramanga, Santander. She is a great teacher, a friend of mine, and she is going to tell us a little bit of her context. She is going to also share the challenges that she has faced so far during this time, and of course, the tips and some strategies that she has also implemented in her classes. So let's listen to her.
Hi, my name is Laura Mora. I'm an English teacher in a public school in Bucaramanga City. Currently, I am in charge of 8th and 11th grades. Today, I'm going to talk about how was our experiences as English teachers to teach English during all this pandemic time. I'm going to mention some strategies I implemented in my classes in the pandemic time. Finally, I tell you what are the challenges we as teachers face in the classroom with the students in virtual and face-to-face modality now. From my experience, since the pandemic started, I can say that we didn't know how to teach a language virtually and how can we maintain the contact with our students. We were not prepared. I think that it was a really challenge. At the beginning, it was really difficult because we didn't know what was the right way, so we were like in a continuous experiment, which we tried to do what really works. That situation was as all teachers have left them on their own. So, what did I do in my classes? Well, the first 5 months, I think I only sent handouts to students with all the instructions they needed to develop the class, actively encouraging the students' autonomous work. Inside the handouts, I included some links with the purpose of complementing the topics that were studied at that moment. In this stage, I tried to make students did something useful and they could put what they work in the worksheet into practice, and in that way, it was meaningful for them. This strategy promoted students' interest and motivation for learning the language. After that, the rest of the year I started doing virtual classes by using some of the trendiest video conferencing platforms like Zoom, Meet, and Teams. In this opportunity, I could give feedback to students on their process. This moment helped me to use different free apps to reinforce some of the proposed topics and make the class more dynamic. This year, until the first semester, the virtual classes were incremented in school, so I continue using the same strategy as the year before, using what I consider were better. For example, the handouts. However, the virtual classes were more oriented to give feedback, encouraging the students' participation and comprehension. Now, in our institution, we started face-to-face classes again, and it has been a big challenge because the school, it doesn't still have all the resources such as internet connection to be able to provide a good educational service to the students who are at home as well as to those who attend this school. Therefore, it has been necessary to include other strategies, especially for those students who are at home. For example, videos of the explanation of answers to the assigned activities are sent to counteract this difficulty that has been occurring. So, what are the challenges? I think that one of the most important challenges we as English teachers in public schools face now is the lack of resources in the classroom, lack of support for teachers to improve their pedagogical practices, and finally, greater students' autonomy and motivation towards learning English. However, we are in the process of improvement, and here is an opportunity to improve our teaching practices. Thank you.
Okay, so teacher Laura has shared some important information. So we have to talk about a little bit on what we have learned regarding the use of materials or handouts that we sent to students, and also we would like to enhance participation and motivate students to use language in the classroom, because we are in these two modalities, face-to-face and remote classes at the same time. So today it's about learning some tips that we can incorporate for the individual learning space. It means when students are alone at home and when you are with them in the classroom. So let's start with the first question that I prepared to all of you, and we would like to know if you have tried some strategies such as handouts or activities outside the class, and that are kind of similar to what Laura mentioned. So you can say yes in the chat box by writing 1, or you can say no by writing number 2. Also, John, hello.
Hey. Yeah.
So let's invite the teachers. We would like to know about their experience.
Please, yeah. So as Juliana mentioned, we're waiting for your answer here in the chat box. Yes, number 1. No, number 2 to this question. Have you ever tried strategies teacher Laura implemented in her remote classes? Please answer now. We'll be very pending. And while teachers answer here, let me take a minute. I want to say hi to some of the teachers. Isabel Cristina Arrieta from Francisco José de Caldas Institución Educativa in Corozal, Sucre. We have Erika Vargas. She's saying hello from Institución Educativa Distrital Rodrigo de Bastidas in Santa Marta. We have a lot of people from Santanderes, Cúcuta, Bucaramanga. So you feel welcome and you feel like home. Juliana too. We have teachers from Barranquilla, Jacqueline Zambrano. Also, Eunice Esther Barandica. We have Sandra Milena Guerrero Pulido from Ubate. We have a lot of teachers participating. Wow. Please remember to answer this. 1 or 2?
1 or 2. Yes or no?
Yes or no? Yes.
Okay. So we would like to listen to our teachers, Eleazar and Juliet.
Yeah, while I was watching the video, I thought that it was the same experience. Handouts, remote learning, links in WhatsApp groups. I recorded myself.
Wow, that's nice.
It was the same. I felt like it was the same experience. But I'm working. I'm working on improving. And now that we are face to face, we are facing some challenges that we have to um, improve. And then the lack of motivation, when Laura was saying the lack of motivation is one of the most challenging things we have to improve, and also connection. But that's why we're here. We're trying to implement new things, new strategies that would help us to improve our teaching practice.
So, Juliet, yes, you
Yes.
mentioned something relevant regarding the handouts, like the fact that you recorded yourself to give an explanation, also giving instructions, sending links. That's what we have been doing so far. Now, the
Yeah.
challenge is to incorporate new activities for the face-to-face classes and,
Yeah.
of course, continue motivating students to learn English. Eleazar, in your case, what do you do?
Yeah, yes, I have, teacher, but we have to say first that it was not an easy time. Yes, it was difficult to work in that time with this pandemic, but we have to thank God for those teachers that go beyond the scene. Yes, and try to develop activity in which a student can get motivated to learn English. And yes, I also did tutorial video and audio with vocabulary pronunciation done by me. Yes, and I send it so that the student could know what they have to do. And obviously, I also use the handout. Yes, so it was not easy, but we got to do to our student to work in English. Yes.
Thank you, Eleazar. So let's listen to our teachers from the audience. John, can you help us reading some comments or answers from the chat?
Yes, Juliana. Well, I'm just gonna tell you something. I'm gonna ask you a question. What do you think the number teachers are typing is the most?
One, I think yes.
Absolutely. I see no number two. No number two. Only yes as well. I just saw one. Estela Isabel Fonseca wrote no, but the rest just number one. Number one. Salvatore. Okay, Salvatore Penagos wrote two, but the rest is just number one. I guess teachers have used the same strategies, Juliana. Okay, Juliana, I got a question. I guess we're transitioning right in this part of the masterclass. We have two parts. I want everybody, all teachers out there, to hold on because we're going to share some information about EcoTeams, a strategy by the Ministry of Education. You can find hundreds, almost thousands of tools for Colombian teachers and students. Wait there. You're going to see that. But before going on that section, Juliana, are you ready to open your teaching toolbox and teach us how to use it?
Of course. Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so let's move on to that next section. But we have, please, EcoTeams. Check it out.
Thank you.
What is EcoTeams? Well, ECO stands for English for Colombia, and it is an educational radio program designed to promote English language learning while exploring different fields like technology, arts, tourism, and sports. The program is designed for teens and presented by teens, Rosita, Aleja, Ana, and Lucho, together with Julian, their English teacher. In the program, they share their life projects and help other young people see the benefits of speaking English.
Hi again. So as John mentioned, it's time to talk about tools. So before that, I would like to start giving some information about flipped learning, just to contextualize you a little bit on this approach. So as you see here in this picture, we have one of the creators, let's say, in a way, John Berman of Flip Learning. So he mentions that this approach is a meta strategy. So it allows that all the strategies happened. What I mean by that, or he mentions this, is because this is like an umbrella term in which this umbrella covers all the innovation or the new strategies or new implementations that we can use in our classes. In addition to that, when we are talking about flipped learning, we are thinking about the 4 pillars. So those pillars are going to help us to improve our classes, and we can make or design these classes based on these elements. The flexible environment, is about differentiation. It's when we take into account all our students' variances, for example, their likes and interests. And the second one is the learning culture, which is like step-by-step activities or process, or when we scaffold the instructions from the activities. We have also the intentional content, is when we teachers become magicians. It means that we start creating and designing tools, material related to a specific topic. And finally, the professional educators pillar, it's related to the participation that we have with the members of our community, for example, colleagues from the same classroom. So this is like what we need to understand related to flipped learning. So today we will focus on two pillars. The first one is the flexible environment, and the second one is the intentional content. So we are ready to start opening our toolbox. The first teaching technique is related to how we can facilitate or create activities for our students that are related to the individual learning space. Because in flipped learning, we have 2 spaces, the individual and the group learning space. So let's start talking a little bit about the first one. So when we are planning our classes, we need to take into account 3 elements. The first one is the content, purpose, and practice. So these 3 elements are relevant to design and create our classes in the individual learning space. This is the space in which happens outside our classes. It means when your students are alone at home. So for that, we need to consider the Bloom's taxonomy. Since it's a flip approach, we need to flip the Bloom's taxonomy. And we will focus on the first part that happens outside the class, which is remembering and understanding. So this is the low level of understanding. It means that we are only understanding, as the word says, interpreting, summarizing, trying to infer information. And also we are also at the same time remembering this information. So we memorize the information, we identify characteristics from the context that we are learning or content that we are learning. So for that, we would like to rank these activities from the most used to the least used. So I need your participation. This is the moment for you, teachers. You can use the chat box and you will see this list of activities. We have A, reading tasks, B, listening tasks, C, vocabulary familiarization, and D, grammar exploration. So you are going to use the letters and rank them from the most used to the least used activities in the individual learning space. It means outside the classroom, what happens at home. Okay, so John, can you help us also sharing students up to participate?
Sure. Teachers are already participating. They're writing their comments. For example, Wilfredo Espejo just said, at our school, we implemented handouts with PPT. I thought PPT was PowerPoint presentation, but no, he just clarified proyectos pedagógicos transversales, right?
Yes.
Pastora Elena Ocampo says, I implemented in my English classes guides and small videos to explain the topics and audios. But now people are already answering. Ivan Moreno, he's ranking them. And that's good. The instruction is good, no? The first, the most used, and the least used. Yes. Ivan Moreno types C, D, C-A-B. Olga
Wow.
Lucía Kitian, C-A-B-D.
Mhm.
Andrea Medellin Herrera, C-A-D-B. They're doing it right now, but why don't we listen to our teachers, to our guest
Yes,
teachers, too?
please. Yes. Eleazar and Juliet, welcome again.
Okay,
Sure.
thank you.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
So, teacher Eleazar, would you like to start ranking this activity, which were like the most used ones and the least ones?
Okay. B A C D. In my
B,
case, B A
uh-huh,
C D. In my case, I also
okay.
did a speaking
Mhm,
task, but we have
uh-huh.
only this.
These
So
ones. For
B
example, in listening tasks, what kind of activities do you use for listening?
audios. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
audios. A student have to listen. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and answer with multiple shows. Yes.
Oh, right. Wonderful. Thank you,
Yeah.
Eleazar. How about you, Juliet?
Okay, in my case, handouts were
Mm-hmm.
mostly about grammar exploration. First, there
Wonderful.
was like an explanation of the grammar topic we were talking about. I was trying students to study.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were some activities like grammar box, fill the blank space,
Mm-hmm.
organize statements. It was mostly like that. Then
Now
I
that,
use
oh,
vocabulary, reading, and listening, but mostly grammar exploration.
based on what you guys are saying, it's that of course with the handouts we became creative, right? So for example, in the case of you, Eleazar, you used
Yes.
listening, so maybe
Yeah.
they were also understanding
Yeah.
vocabulary, getting
Yeah.
familiar
Yeah.
with the vocabulary, right? And in the
Yeah.
case of you, Juliet, you also mentioned that you gave them the possibility to explore grammar, which is the low order thinking skills, as I said before, because they are understanding and also getting familiar with the content, but at the same time learning grammar. So then they are prepared to speak or to produce the language. So that's something that really calls my attention, because of
Yeah.
course we teachers, as I said before, we became magicians trying to send amazing handouts for students so they were always learning, right?
Yeah.
Yes, teacher. And in my activity, my students always learn grammar, but the
Mhm.
focus is not that. You see, but they are
Yes.
always
It's like
learning
a
grammar.
tool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, teachers. Thank you so much for sharing with us your experience. And I really liked that you incorporated all the tasks that are here on screen. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So, John, how about the teachers in the audience?
Well, let me tell you, they're actively participating. I just missed somebody. Oh my God! Oh, I was gonna read that. Eleazar, before is Eleazar around? No, my God, he's not around. But I just want to say this. I don't know if Eleazar knows Ulises Cordova.
Ulises Cordova is from Choco.
Maybe.
Ulises Cordova is saying, Eleazar, my dear friend, congratulations for sharing. I don't know, you have a friend out there, so people are watching you. Congratulations.
Okay.
And
Okay. 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 Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the
okay,
greetings.
good.
Thank you.
So
Yes.
actually, Juliana and Eleazar, everybody's participating. Everybody's is writing their own ranking, okay?
Mhm.
But despite the different rankings that they have, the most important thing is that these are strategies that students,
Yeah.
the teachers use with their students. So that's the key point here.
Thank you, John.
Okay.
Thank you, teachers, also for your participation. It's so nice that all of you were created during the pandemic while you were assigning the independent work for your students, of course, when you were also designing these handouts. Now it's the time to know a little bit more on the on how you are created. So we have a topic that it's a practice activity, and in which you have to think about how would you like to design or teach the topic that you can see here on screen. When the topic is describing people's origins. So we were talking about countries, nationalities. So how can you design and teach this topic when you are not with your students? It's for the independent or the individual learning space when you have to assign information or assign content or assignments to your students. So we are going to use a hashtag for you for your participation in the chat box. So you are going to write hashtag my activity will be. Now you can write what kind of activities would you implement for your students when the topic is describing people's origins. So can you be creative? So let's find out. How about our teachers, Eleazar and Juliet? Hello, Eleazar. Hello, Juliet. So we have this topic that is describing people's origin. How would you teach this topic when you are not with your students?
As handouts are in black and white, I should send them a video, a link through WhatsApp chat, and also the flags so they can see and get used to see the flags and the colors and with that they can get familiar with the flags. Also, a reading in which they can read something about the culture of,
Wow, yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And also what else? Eleazar, can you help me please?
Yeah,
Something
yeah.
else?
Yes. Obviously, a tutorial video with the explanation about what they have to do. Yes. And
Wonderful.
yes. Uh, I would also prepare a reading. Yes, I have here a reading, for instance, about Cameroon French nationalities. Yes, yes, so that they can describe the origins of Cameroon French, yes, nationality. For practicing, I will propose some worship, and if they have internet connection, some online games, yes, and or maybe to draw flash, yes, about their country, yes.
Wonderful. So when
Yeah.
you were mentioning, for example, Juliet and Eliezer, the importance of using video. So for example, a video is a great tool. If they have an internet connection, they can check on they can get familiar with the vocabulary. And of course, it's a great way for listening skills.
Yes.
So they are practicing, they can also record themselves and practice pronunciation of the countries and nationalities. I really like your idea, Eliezer, of sending a video out with instructions. I really love that.
Yes,
So
teacher,
how do
and
your students feel with this kind of video when you give them the instructions through a video?
yes, teacher, and I think that it is also important to share the vocabulary with the correct pronunciation. Yes, because the student does not have that possibility to access to this in their houses. Yes.
Wonderful. So basically, these kind of activities are they get familiar with vocabulary. There is some
Yes.
time to practice, and of course, the idea that Eleazar mentioned of giving students instructions through a video. I love
Yeah.
that. Okay, thank you, teachers. How about the teachers in the audience, John?
Well, here we are again. Okay, so I was promoting the hashtag. I was also active in on this chat. I was promoting the hashtag. My activity will be. Olga Lucia writes, my hashtag. My activity will be number one. Contextualize with short descriptive texts from people around the world. It can include the flag or the country of origin. We also have Andrea Medellin Herrera. My hashtag, my activity will be short readings about people from different countries. My activity will be Carmenza Castaño, using videos and short descriptive text, sometimes recordings. Carmen Cecilia Cote, my activity will be with flashcards, never fail. Also, Paula Salazar, just to finish this part, activity will be talking about favorite actors, actresses, about someone famous to know their origins. And we have countless and countless comments, Juliana, on this chat. So we really, really thank you, teachers. Don't forget, during the presentation, the masterclass, we will be using hashtags. Use the hashtags because the hashtags also promote the conversation. Okay.
Thank you, John. Thank you. And thank you all teachers for sharing your ideas. Of course, getting students familiarized with the vocabulary is a key point just for them to understand and remember the topic. Thank you, John. So
Yes.
now it's time to talk a little bit more on these tips and related to the first teaching toolbox or first strategy. So we will talk about the purpose. So when we are choosing a topic, the topic should have a connection to the students' lives. It means that when we are designing, we have to not only think about the grammar exploration or the grammar topic. Well, this is like the way in which students can communicate, but we have to connect. The purpose should be connected to the student's life, likes, and also to a specific context. And of course, when we are planning this class that it's outside, we have to think about outside the classroom. We have to think about the students who are in face-to-face classes. How about the main goal, which is communication, could be oral or written purpose. The second part that we need to consider is the content. Maybe if you can take the plunge, it will be risky for some of you, but you can record yourself giving an explanation of the topic. As you see here, that's a picture of a YouTube video that I recorded like a year ago, I think, explaining about different types of food. And also, another type of content that we can use is to create handouts. The ones that you teachers are designing so far. So handouts are excellent because you can give them instructions, they can explore different resources, and everything is written. So they can follow activity 1, 2, and they know what to develop for the individual learning space. Other type of content is readings of, I don't know, their favorite comic books, the favorite movies, about the favorite music. So we can explore. It's important to know what are the students' likes. So, and also what are students' difficulties in terms of language. So we can start accommodating the topic or the context of the content that we would like to explore with our students. And also, as teacher Eleazar mentioned, we have to contextualize the topic with, for example, an audio, a video that students can explore because they are listening to the proper pronunciation in English, so they can practice and drill these words. Finally, a last tip that we have is practice. But we have different kind of practice so far. There are 3 types actually. The first one is the control practice. The second one is the semi-control practice, and the last one is free practice. Control 1 is when we have the exploration of the topic. The grammar is embedded there, yeah, but at the same time we give them some activities in which they can fill in the gaps, for example. That's the one that we are going to focus today. Semi-control and free practice, these types of practice can happen in the classroom. It means that we are helping students to apply the topic or the grammar topic or the content that we are teaching in a specific information, specific activity, And the free practice is when they are going beyond. It means that the teachers or the students are using the language in real context. It means through a project, through a presentation that is related to their lives. So, as I said before, when we are talking about practice, could be, this is and also an image from a video that we're explaining a topic related to food. So at the end, they had to complete some activities, or if they have access to internet, you can create a Kahoot activity, a quiz that it's online, so they can explore the content or that they are learning so far. Remember that in the outside the class we have the Bloom's taxonomy lower thinking skills. We are understanding and we are remembering the information. This is like the first step, the steps that we have to take into account for the individual learning space. So this is related to the first teaching tool. Now it's time to continue participating. So I would like to know what type of assignments have you used for your students to work independently. So remember that we are focusing on the individual learning space. So I would like to know from the audience, using the hashtag #myactivitiesare, the types of assignments or tasks that you have used with your students to work independently. So I would like to know from the audience and also from our guest teachers, our stars, Eleazar and Juliet. Hello again.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi again. My activities are at the end, after they have developed the grammar drills and some reading, sometimes I ask them to send a video.
Mm-hmm.
They send a video on
Wow.
WhatsApp,
Yes.
and it's an oral presentation where
Mm-hmm.
they explain about the topic we have been studying in the
Okay, so they
handout.
use the topic in an oral presentation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mostly.
Mostly. Wonderful. And teacher Eleazar?
Okay, teacher. Mostly, I asked my student to prepare also an English presentation, and I also use dialogue. But it is going to be important. Uh, I asked my student to prepare a dialogue, and they have to call each other through a WhatsApp video call. Oh,
Wonderful.
yes, it was nice because each student, the students were studying in their houses, yes, and
Mm-hmm.
they had not, they did not have, excuse me, they did not have contact with the rest of their classmates. So
Yes.
to have the opportunity to call each other was so important for them. So it was one of the things I did for the individual assignments.
Wonderful. Yeah, because they were missing each other. So that's a
Yes,
great way to use the language. And at the same time, they can get together, gossip a little bit, and
yes.
practice.
See each other on WhatsApp, you see,
Mm-hmm.
and
Wonderful.
call each other. Yes,
It's a
and
way
and
to keep
and,
in
and, and
touch.
yes, to keep it, yes, and to have the opportunity to know how the classmates were
We're doing,
facing
yes.
facing
Mm-hmm.
that moment. Yes,
Mm. Yeah, wonderful. So those ideas, of course, you are thinking about giving them practice. And in that, where I was listening to you, teachers, you are using practice in which they had the opportunity to use English in for example, in speaking or a written way. And how about the audience, John? What can you tell us about the audience? Thank you, teacher Eleazar, and also teacher Juliet.
Karen Quiroz Mena. My activities are okay. Well, oh my God, it just loaded here. Okay, good. Aleida Leonor. My activities are oral presentations and upload their videos in Padlet or WhatsApp. Okay. Olga Lucia, my activities are number one, write a descriptive paragraph about their likes and hobbies and share a short video reading it in a PowerPoint presentation. We have, for example, Luz Mila Mora. Luz Mila says, my activities are a short video and oral presentation where students can show to the class what they have explored about the topic we're learning in class. We have Glenda Guerra. She says, my students use slides to show their own biographies, journeys, daily routines, etc. William Rodriguez, my activities are short videos or audios about the topic. And we have, oh my God, we have people participating, Juliana. I'll tell you, I can follow up.
Yes.
There's a lot of people participating. Thank you, teachers, because
Thank you.
of what you write here and help us build this conversation. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you can continue participating using the hashtag my activities are. We will also have the chance to read you out. Of course, thank you so much for sharing your ideas. Now,
Yeah.
thank
I
you,
want
John.
I want to say something. I want to say something.
Yes.
It's not about the teachers' participation, but it's
Mhm,
something about related to the certificate. Juliana, I don't
mhm.
know if you know, but teachers can get a certificate of participation. Okay,
Wow.
so please, teachers, if you want to get your certificate, and I know you want, please go to the top of the chat. You can see here something like a blue. Okay, you
Mhm.
see
Yeah, I can see it.
blue section. It says, in order to get your certificate of participation in this masterclass, please complete the registration in the following link. So we encourage you to do that so you get your certificate. So I'm off. Thank you.
Thank you, John. So now it's time. So teachers, you can also continue participating using the hashtag my activities are. Meanwhile, I would like to give you the second technique, teaching technique from this bag of toolbox. Yes. So we will talk a little bit about the activities that are going to happen in the group learning space. Well, now when I was getting to know all the activities that you have shared in the chat, and also from teacher Eleazar and Juliet have mentioned that you were creative because you had these handouts related to many things, getting familiar with vocabulary, listening, reading, but at the same time you were designing activities related to oral production, or they had to write tests, right? But how about the pandemic? In the pandemic, they we had to create this, but now we have the hybrid modality. Now we have our students in the class, and also there are some students who are at home, so we need to deal with this. So information about the activities that are going to
Sorry,
happen in the
Juliana.
group learning. Yes.
You were like still for
Frozen.
a moment,
Okay.
and I didn't understand what you said previously. Sorry.
Okay, so now I would like to know that the activities that you can use to enhance or to promote students' communication in the classroom. Now that we have these face-to-face remote modalities at the same time, and now we have to use the information that we are sending home, that they get familiar with vocabulary, with the context, etc., get familiar with grammar. How about in the classroom? How we can help your students to communicate, to use English in the classroom? So we have like a list of activities. We have from 1 to 6. And now I would like to invite the audience to write a number or the numbers based on on your experience that are going to help your students to communicate more and use English. So I would like to start listening to Eleazar. How about you? Which kind of activities have you used to enhance or to
Enhance
promote communication
my
in the classroom?
classroom.
Mhm,
Okay, I have used teacher dialogue and
mhm,
oral presentation in my classroom. Okay, for
mhm,
instance, I do something. First, a student has to share with their classmate or a personal presentation. Yes, and in
mhm.
a dialogue, they share information from to each other. Yes, for instance, they speak about what they want to be when they grow up,
Mm-hmm.
profession. Yes,
Yes.
in a dialogue, they ask that question. For instance, hello, how are you? What is your name? What do you want to be
Mhm.
when you grow up? And the other say, I
Mhm.
want to be a doctor. And you, so this is a dialogue. And in this way, we can enhance our student communication in the classroom.
Of course. So, and they are practicing the structure of questions at the same time.
Yeah. Mm, yes.
And profession. So a lot of things are going on. Thank you,
Yes.
Eliasa.
Okay.
Juliet, in your case.
Yeah, in my case, I usually work with dialogues because I like to be like I like the classroom to be quiet and classmates to listen to each other. Then
Wow.
I think dialogue is a good, even plenaries and debates, but dialogue is a way to include something personal, and that's what I like the most. Dialogue and oral presentations when they have to talk about something they we are studying. The topic
Mm-hmm.
can be recycling, any topic we're talking about. I like those oral presentations.
Wonderful. So one tip that I recommend to both of you is to, for example, write down in the board the example of the type of dialogue that they can follow up. For example, you can write A and B and include possible questions or patterns that they can use. So that's a tip that you can implement also if you want your students to enhance and follow a pattern that you are teaching in that moment. Thank you,
Yeah,
Yes.
teacher. Mhm.
yeah, it's a way. Yeah, like stanzas, and they include their own information. Then,
Wonderful. Yes.
yeah,
So that's a great way for them to follow a specific example, and they, at the same time, you are always guide them, and listening to them, and also correcting grammar and pronunciation. So
So,
that's a
right.
great way.
in that case, it is important that they write complete sentence. Yes.
Yes.
So that we can see what mistake they are making.
And do you give them time for them to write down their dialogues first?
Yes,
You have
yes,
time to prepare.
yes, yes. And
Mm-hmm.
also they ask me for any word they don't know, you see,
Mm-hmm.
or
Yes.
phrases, you know.
So you become a guide. So you are not always giving a lot
Yeah.
of information, but you are helping them
Yes,
out with the
we are
language.
there. Yes, I'm there. We are there. We have to be there with them.
Hmm. Okay,
So,
Yeah.
that's great. Thank you, teacher. So now we would like to go. Would you like to know about the audience? Let's see
Yes.
what they think. What
okay.
about the activities that they are using in their classroom?
Yeah,
Yes.
I've taken
So
some ideas from them.
yes, we can.
So
Yes, of course. I'm taking notes
They,
all the
yes, yes,
time.
yes.
I'm
They
writing
are,
They are
down.
yeah,
wonderful.
they are
Yeah.
typing interesting idea.
Yes, and I will use these ideas.
Yes.
So, John, can you tell us a little bit about what the audience is sharing?
Of course, of course. Well, apart from this numbers, for example, Fernanda Rodriguez has writes 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess we have more questions between the 3, 4, and 5
Mm-hmm.
among the answers that we have here. We have Betty Jorlardi. She says 3, 4, 5, 6. We have Inefina Mosquera 3, 4, 5, 6. Carol Hernandez 3, 4, 5, 6, as well as Juan Carlos Medina, as well as Carlos Mauricio Monsalve, also Nayi Gale. She says 2, 3, or 4, 5. But also, for example, Glenis Armenta Mojica says yo. I enhance my students. I use dialogues, our presentations, writing activities, spirit group,
Mm,
and everything that is necessary to catch their attention. We
yes.
also have Omar Belandia. He uses apart from this, he mentions a tool. He uses paddles or Padlet for
Mm,
sharing with them.
mhm.
Glenda Guerra says the activities that I use with my students are debates and where they argument about their opinions and dialogues and motivate them. So we have a lot of insights from our teachers, Juliana.
Yeah,
Yes.
learning a lot from them. Thank you, John, for sharing their ideas. As we mentioned before, we are taking a lot of notes
Yeah.
regarding these activities that we can implement in our classes. Now, we
And
need ideas.
yeah, I'm learning too. And besides learning, you know what inspires me just to say it that way,
Yeah. What is it?
how resilient teachers are, and how creative and resourceful they are.
Yes.
And I really want you to recognize that, just everybody who's watching us in this broadcast masterclass. Keep on working on that, and take advantage of this type of strategies the Ministry of Education, along with the British Council, is giving you and giving us, all of us teachers. Please, we also encourage you to invite more teachers. This strategy continues. Your opinion, your strategies really matter, and we want them here. We want your voices here. Thank you very much, teachers. Okay, Julian, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, thank you so much, John. So yes, as I said before, teachers have evolved. They have changed their mindset. They are changing the way they teach English, because that's what's going on. Yeah, we have these contexts that we have to take into account, and that's why we have a different mindset towards the way we teach English. Thank you, John.
Yes. Yes, I just want to say something about
Yes.
the mindset. It's not only, well, it's also what you say about teaching English, or leading these learning processes in languages, but the mindset also deals with how you tackle the situations that you face on a daily basis. And sometimes we tend to see the situations as problems, right? But the problem is not a problem. Well, it becomes a problem depending on your point of view. Okay,
That's
depending
true.
on how you see it, how you see it, and depending on how you tackle it, it just disappears. It's just not a problem. It's a challenge, and it's an
That's true.
opportunity for growth and an opportunity for becoming better teachers. So, different
Yeah.
mindset. Don't forget
Yeah,
it.
different mindset. And that's what teacher Laura mentioned at the beginning. We have
Yes.
challenges, of course, but we are
Yes.
learning from them and we are evolving. So at the beginning was like handouts, no instruction, and then she incorporated instructions, giving them videos with them, and guiding students on the activities that they have to develop, etc. Thank you, John.
Yes. Definitely. Okay. I'm here, pending on the chat box.
Thank you. So based on this information, and now let's see that we have this flipped Bloom's taxonomy, and we have already talked what's going to happen outside the classroom. I mean, we have embraced the fact that they have to remember and understand topics, right? But when we are in the group learning space, I mean, in the class, we need to give them, the students, opportunities to apply what they are learning, so they can use the information in a new but similar situation. It means that they are using in a diagram, they are drawing, they are solving, calculating, and then we can have time to analyze the language, so we can explore relationships. We can explore, for example, if it's a grammar or a specific pattern in language, we have them to identify the similarities in the sentences, so they are always analyzing and applying. And then sometimes we don't have time to evaluate. But when we are flipping our teaching practices or our classes, we have time to evaluate. So it means that we are always examining ourselves and also examining our students' learning process. So we are criticizing our learning, and we give them, the students, the opportunity to self-assess their process. Also, they can peer evaluate their work. And finally, we have time to have them, students, to create. And they can use this information to create new one. It means projects. We get the time, of course, not in a class, but we can give them the time in a couple of weeks to develop a big project based on the topic. So that's why, if you are wondering, how about the students who are not ready for our classes, who didn't check the handout, who didn't watch the video, who didn't do the reading worksheet, and they are not prepared? Sometimes we are afraid of that students are not autonomous enough for the class. So a tip that I give you is to have a station in which you have the material there, because sometimes, oh, teacher, I didn't print it and I didn't do it. Or, okay, so they can give you a lot of excuses, but no, we have to welcome them. We say, okay, don't worry, we have a solution. So we have a station or a space in the class in which they can get familiar with the information. For example, watch the video or read, so they can get familiar in the first part, understanding and remembering. So we are not leaving students out like, okay, if I didn't do the handout or the independent work, I'm not going to learn anything from the class. No, we need to invite them to do that in the classroom, so they will see that there is a need for them to be prepared in the class. So that's the first step. The second one is, now we need to design classes in which students are the center of the class. It means that we are helping students to become autonomous. And you teachers, you are the guide in this process. It means that you are helping them out if they don't understand instructions, or maybe they have questions related to vocabulary, pronunciation. You can give them feedback. So it is time when we design these classes that are as the students feel that they are connected. So to do that, in order to have your students motivated, we have two ways. The first one is charts. You can incorporate charts for students to fill in information. So they are applying the language in a specific context. For example, answering questions, for example, listening, an audio again, but there are for different purposes. Student A and student B, they have to fill in a chart with different information, and then they can get together and compare their answers, or maybe complement the information and learning from each other because they are completing different information. And another one could be, if you can see here on screen, I don't know if you are familiar with this type of diagram, it's called Venn diagram. It means that we have two circles, but the two of them are overlapped. So it means that in the first circle, you have a specific topic, and in the second circle, we have a topic number 2, and each one of the students who are in charge of 1 and 2, they have to complete the diagram individually. And then they can get together and then identify similar aspects or characteristics from the two topics. So this is a great way for them to individually prepare information. They can use the language in a meaningful way, and they can learn and use the language with their partners, with the classmates, because they have to identify similarities. So it's time to practice. So I would like to talk to Eleazar and Juliet again, and we will do a practice activity with them about comparing two cities. So we are going to take into account that you are from different cities, right? Eleazar, where are you from?
I am from Quito, Choco.
Wonderful. And in the case
Yeah.
of Juliet, where are you from?
From Monteria, born and raised.
Born and raised. Nice.
Yeah.
So you are going to individually, in a piece of paper, write down the characteristics from your city, right? So we can talk a little bit on music, maybe food, maybe the weather, population, any information that you would like to share with us. Okay, so you can include all this type of information about your city. So each one of you will be in charge of this part. Okay, so let me know when you're ready and we can start sharing this information. And the idea is that the two of you
Teacher, music,
talk a little bit about that. Yes, Eleazar?
music, yes. Typical
Music,
food,
typical food.
the weather, yes.
Yes, that's nice.
Okay, these three, yes, or
Could be, or
any
you can include more.
I'm ready with the ones you said already.
okay,
Okay.
I'm
For
ready to.
characteristics.
Yes. And also at the same time, we can invite also the teachers from the audience to write down sentences, ideas, or characteristics from the cities that you were born and raised, as Juliet said. Yeah, that will be nice. So we can identify similarities, and John can help us with that later on. So who would like to start? Who would like to be the first one?
Okay,
Okay,
between Julia and
ladies
me,
first.
yes. Okay, hello. Okay, hello,
Ladies
Julia.
first. Hi.
Okay, let's
I'm
start.
gonna
Okay.
explain a little bit about the music where I lived. In Córdoba, we have porro and cumbiamba. It's a kind of music that we celebrate so much that we have two festivals. There are festivals for each kind of music. I mean, each
Yes.
style. Porro festival in San Pelayo and cumbiamba in Cereté. It's really hot here in Monteria. We are always like, oh my God, I'm melting. It's really hot. Places to visit, we have the largest park, lineal park in South America.
Wow.
It's in the First Avenue. Yes, it's all along the river. Our fish is Boca Chico fish. It's delicious. And that's it.
Thank you, Juliet. And Elias, how about
Uh,
your city?
okay, my city. About music, Chirimia. Yes, Chirimia.
That's the typical
Uh,
music.
yes, you know, we are black. We come from Africa. Yes, so this kind of music is related to that continent, and this music it's heard also in festival. Yes.
Wonderful.
Okay, about the weather is also hot, really hot. You,
I love
you
that.
see? Yes, about typical food, we have one, and its name is tapao. Yes, and it is made of with it is made of green banana with boca chico fish. Yes.
Wow. Oh my
We have
God.
the
I think
same
it's time
fish.
for
Yeah.
dinner.
Yeah.
Thank you. So
Yeah.
I would like that you guys, you teachers, talk a little bit about what characteristics are similar between these two cities.
The
Yes.
weather and
The
also
weather,
the food.
the food.
And
Yes.
I like to ask you something. With Boca Chico, we have a food is called viuda. Is when you cook the fish with banana and yuca and yam. I don't know if it's the same that tapao you have there.
It is something like that, teacher. Yes, it
It's
is something like
Okay,
that.
boiled.
so there is
Yes, yes, it is
another
boiled. It is
similarity.
boiled. Yes, it is boiled, and we also eat boca chico fish with yuca. Yes.
Oh, I would die for it. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's the same. Yeah.
So we have like
Yes.
one similarity could be dish, and the second one is
Weather is hot.
Weather.
Both cities are hot.
both of them are hot. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how nice. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit of your cities. I didn't know some information, so thank you so much. So how about the audience, John? What cities are they describing?
Before going before going on the chat, let me tell you this conversation is getting me really hungry.
Yeah, me too.
I'm craving for fish right now. I just want to have fish. Okay, I have this. We have Puria Cero Alzate, Madavendra Puria Cero Alzate. It says Itagüí. Itagüí is the second smallest town in Colombia. Didn't know that. I didn't know
Oh,
that.
you know that.
Didn't know that. She says, Edith Rocio, this city is called, you're gonna guess. This is a guessing game. This city
Okay.
is cold, big. People here is very hardworking. Unfortunately, nowadays it's very insecure. We celebrate the summer festival. There are many places to visit: museums, park, churches. What city is that?
Bogota.
La Nevera, yes.
Yeah, La Nieve.
Yeah. Carlos Mauricio Monsalvis is typing, yummy, yummy, yummy. Yeah, here I am. You know, Leslie Salas wrote, tapao is called viuda by people from Monteria. So she confirmed that. She
Yeah.
Ah,
confirmed that.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
So you
yeah,
figured
got
yeah.
it.
out it
You
was
got
the
it there.
same.
Yeah, greeting for
Yes.
lady.
Erika Vargas says, this city is really beautiful. It's called the Pearl of America. The weather is hot. We have amazing beaches. Our main festivity is the Sea Fest. What city is that?
Pearl,
The Pearl of
uh,
America.
Santa Marta.
Santa Marta, yes. Okay. Well, people
yeah.
just writing. I'm just playing like
You get
guessing
extra
games here.
points
Thumbs
here.
up.
Thumbs up. Yes.
Yeah.
You got them all. Great.
Yes, I'm living in Rio Negro. Nobody is speaking the bandeja paisa there.
My God.
Bandeja
I
paisa,
guess.
yeah.
Favorite dish. But
Yeah.
how
I
about
guess
tuna ants from my city? I love that.
Ants.
yeah.
Ants.
Yeah, yes.
But most
You're
people
you're
say, "Oh my
you're
God, do you eat that?" Yes.
I love food from Santander, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like I like the arepa.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. For me, it's the best arepa. I like the dry meat. You
Dry.
call it like that?
I don't know.
Yeah, and also pepitoria. I love pepitoria. It's
Yeah, some
amazing.
people don't like it,
Well,
but same as tuna ants, but I love them with popcorn. That's my
yes,
favorite dish.
but we should change topic because this is getting me really really hungry.
Hungry.
Yeah,
Okay,
I know,
thank
I
you
know.
teachers for participating. Everybody out there, amazing.
Yes,
Thank you
thank
very
you so
much.
much.
Okay, okay.
Thank you, John, and thank you, Eliazar and Juliet. So it's time for our last strategy. So you would like to listen about it?
Please, please.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, so I would like to continue talking a little bit about our teaching technique number 3. And this one, it's also related to the group learning space that I was talking about. So you are going to learn a little bit on the activities to keep your students engaged and motivated. Because sometimes we said, okay, how can I motivate my students in the classroom? So now it's time to talk a little bit on one strategy, and we will practice and we will learn how to design choice boards. So as you see, we have a picture of an example of choice board. Don't worry, we will share PDF with an example with this template that you can use later on. And but what I would like to mention that one author called Carol Tomlinson, she mentioned that we need to differentiate our classes or our activities. It means that we need to take into account our students' variances. It means the students' likes, the process that they have when they are learning English, their challenges. Remember, as John said, we don't have problems, we have challenges, and we are learning from them. Also, when we know our students, what they like, what they don't like. Okay, so based on this information, we have an objective in mind. As I said before at the beginning of this master class, we have a purpose. So we want that your students apply the language, that they become creative, that they have the opportunity to evaluate themselves and evaluate their classmates, and of course that they can examine and explore the language at the same time. So when we are designing our classes, sometimes we are thinking in a linear way, and all the activities are for all the students. But choice boards gives us the possibility to explore different activities at the same time, and students can choose the one or the ones that they like or they prefer. But at the same time, we are thinking, when we are creating or designing these activities, we have to think about the high order thinking skills. It means that we are giving students the opportunity to apply the language, to analyze the language. Also, there is time for evaluation, so we can ask them students to do an activity and they can ask feedback from the teacher or from their peers, and they can create, for example, record a video, record an audio, write a story, draw a picture. So the ways that well, there are a lot of ways to do that. So it's time to practice. Okay, so we are going to learn how to design this choice board activity. The topic that you teachers are going to share today, for example, with our guest teachers and also the audience, you are going to start writing ideas with the topic in mind: fruit and vegetables. So, having this topic in mind, start thinking and drawing in a piece of paper this chart. We have 3 and 3. Okay, so we have some boxes, but the box that it's in the middle, you are going to write your own choice. It means that this is the instruction. It's like students can have a lot of possibilities that they can choose from, and they can do, so you can give them like, okay, you have to complete all of them, or maybe you can do 1, 3, depending on the time that you have. Sometimes you can use choice boards in different classes if they didn't finish in one. So I would like to invite our teachers again, Eleazar and Juliet, and we are going to practice creating activities for this choice board. Okay, so meanwhile, the audience, please grab a piece of paper, draw the chart, and in the middle, please write your own choice. And we start thinking on activities that are related to fruit and vegetables. So Eleazar and Juliet, are you ready with your chart? With your choice board?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I see it? Or can we see it?
I was writing down the word.
Oh, you have some ideas already? Nice.
Wonderful. When you said I was.
So I have 3 examples. Would you like to listen to them?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one could be draw a fruit and vegetable still life and describe it to a classmate. As you see, it's with this pink color because it's related to a high order thinking skill, which is creating, right? So you can ask your students to use the language or the vocabulary with their classmates using there is, there are, and mentioning the vegetables and fruits that it's in the picture or in the drawing. Another possibility, another activity that you can include in one of the squares is classify the following list of items into 2 categories. So we have fruit and vegetables, and we have a list. We can ask your students to classify. Okay, so this is application. Okay, and last but not least, we have another activity that which says watch a video, and the video may have, well, this specific video that I have here is they have a fruit and vegetable, and they have to say if it's fruit and vegetable. They have to guess, right? And they are listening to it, and they can drill the pronunciation. So guess which item is a fruit or a vegetable. So I would like to start listening to Juliet. Do you have another way to teach this topic or to give them students to practice this topic?
Yeah. Actually, there's the first one you described is like I was Pictionary. I was thinking on having a Pictionary.
Yeah.
Also match like the fruit is a teacher is. It was an idea I already heard John read from the chat.
Yeah.
Using the forgot the cards, flashcards. So it can be like a match activity. They have to match with flashcards. They can make, for example, the drawing and the word, and they have to match to practice matching. Oral presentation can be, and I don't know if you have heard about that game that is headbands. That you use a band on your head and you put the drawing here, then the other person have to describe
Wonderful
what is saying. Then it's red, is heart shaped, something. They start to describe what they're seeing, and the other person have to guess what they have in.
Wonderful.
I have those ideas.
Okay, so I get another one that is listen to a song and practice vocabulary about fruit and vegetables. So if you find a song, there are songs on YouTube that they can listen to it as many times as they want. They can pause it and practice pronunciation. Eleazar, one activity that you would like to include also here in the chart.
Okay, I have an interesting activities. Is complete the text. Yes.
One.
Yeah, complete the test. It is about for it's a test when someone is talking about the ingredients of a food. Yes, so they have to write down the fruit and vegetable they heard. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wonderful. I get another one that says complete the following sentences with the correct words. Same.
Okay.
Same. We have the
Yeah.
same idea.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Juliet, do
Yes.
you have another one that you would like to include?
Recipe.
A recipe. So that will be a high order thinking skill because they are creating.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also they have to like steps describe first, second, then after that, finally, and it's
Connector of sequence. They are
yeah,
using that.
they have to use
Yeah.
it's a higher level.
Wonderful. Another one that I have, listen to the video about fruits and vegetables again and repeat the words as many times as you want. So here it's like, okay, taking advantage of the video or the song so they can practice the pronunciation. Sometimes we can ask the students, okay, record themselves. If you have a WhatsApp group, they can share it, or they can another partner can listen to the recording and provide feedback. So no, but you say apple. Oh, it's apple. Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Or the teacher can help out if it's necessary.
Yeah.
Teacher Eliezer, do you have another idea?
Okay, this is something I did. It says, prepare a food in family, yes, and tell your classmate the ingredients you used. Yeah,
Could be a fruit salad. So let's prepare a
yeah,
fruit salad, the ingredients that you like to use for that recipe. Or
yes,
sometimes that could be a project that they can elaborate with some time, like prepare the list of ingredients, the steps, and then they present it in class.
yeah.
Okay, so we have another one that it says, make a list of 6 pieces of fruit and vegetables you like eating. Then say the list of items to your teacher. Be open-minded. She will give you or he will give you feedback. Okay, so any other ideas you would like to share? Different from this one?
Mm,
Dictionary.
Okay, but Pictionary, that's nice. And finally, what you said before. That's why it's in pink color because it's about creation. The list of ingredients for a fruit salad or vegetable salad, and they can later on present and prepare, of course, prepare this recipe in front of the classroom. So that will be a great activity for them. Okay,
Yeah.
so teacher Eleazar and Juliet, thank you so much for your ideas. I hope that from the chat we can get more information and we can incorporate it in our classes. Thank you, teachers.
okay.
So now we are going to talk a little bit about the action steps. John?
Okay, yes, that's the next section, Juliana. But before moving on to that section, I want the teachers to remember that you can get the certificate by completing the registration form on the top of the chat
Yeah,
on
don't
YouTube.
forget.
Please don't forget. Don't forget. And we'd also love to read your questions. We're 30 minutes away. In 30 minutes time, we're about to finish this 8th master class, but I guess it's a good moment, Juliana. I guess you agree with me that we want to read teachers' questions. Our participants
Of
out
course.
there, please write your questions. We're eager to read them. We'll choose some of them, okay, to read at the end of the session and to ask Juliana, and she will kindly answer them. So please don't forget that, teachers. And
Yes.
so next section, taking action.
teachers for being here today. So we have learned a lot, some strategies, 3 important strategies that we have to take into account if we are flipping our classes and we are incorporating activities in the individual and group learning space. So that's why I have prepared the first action step. So do not forget that we are applying an activity that has a purpose, content, and we are also including practice. So do not forget these 3 moments that we have in mind to design our classes for the individual learning space. So we have purpose, content, and practice. And also the action step number 2 is when we are using charts and diagrams to promote group work. It means that when we are with our students, we have to take advantage of the time. When we are flipping, we have the time to give them the time to apply the language or the content. We have the time to analyze the language, solve doubts. That's why we need to have a specific space and time for doubts and questions. And we have the time to evaluate and create. So for that, do not forget that we can use diagrams, graphic organizers, Venn diagrams, and charts to support the group learning space, because we have the time, students can have time to organize their ideas, but at the same time, then they can share, learn from each other, identify similarities and differences between the information. They can, through dialogues, learn from each other and use English in a meaningful and contextualized way. We have here examples from the chart that I have shown before and the Venn diagram that we can incorporate in our classes. Finally, we have the action step number 3. It means choice boards. So we have learned so far that we need to, as I said before, in one of the pillars of flipped learning approach, we have to create flexible environments. It means with a choice board, the students can use the language for specific purposes. So we need to give them a lot of activities, a lot of opportunities to use the language, and choice boards are an excellent way to do that. So having the objective in mind for our classes, we have the same objective for the individual and group learning spaces, right? Having this objective in mind, we got the time for them outside the class to embrace, to get familiar with vocabulary, to get familiar with a grammar topic, explore a little bit on that. And then in class, we have the space for them to, to ask questions, first of all. And for the ones who didn't do the assignment, they have the time to explore in a specific moment of the class, while the others are doing, and they are not behind because they feel that they can start using the language in choosing the activity that they prefer or activities that they like. So we can do it in 2 ways. Remember, we have a free template that, for example, I incorporated the name Slides Mania. This is online and it's free. This is a free template. You can write Slides Mania and write choice board template. There are free templates for PowerPoint presentation, Google Slides that you can use. So it's free. You only include the activity. Or the other way is to use a Word document and write the instructions there, incorporate the activities or the materials that you can use, have them in the class so they can use it anytime that they want, depending on their choice, right? So it's up to them. And have in mind that this grid template, that we have to choose 8 activities. And remember that they are related to, according to Bloom's taxonomy, high order thinking skills. Apply, create, evaluate, and also at the same time analyze the language. So having this in mind, they are going beyond. They are using the language meaningfully. The language is also contextualized. So it's a really great way to learn English. So We hope that that you learned a lot, and of course, thank you so much for your time. You remember, write questions here in the chat box. I'm really happy to answer them. John.
Thank you, Juliana. We still encourage teachers in the platform to ask their questions, and I guess this call to taking action has been very clear. And I really want to thank you, Juliana, and all the teachers, our guest teachers. I mean, uh, Juliana, we're about to move to our next section, but I don't want to go there yet. Okay, we want to, or I want to invite our teachers to visit Echo Kids. Echo, it's a very, very powerful strategy by the Ministry of Education. Videos, podcasts, material for teachers made by Colombian teachers for Colombian teachers and Colombian students. So we invite you to go to echo.colombiaaprende.edu.co and go there. You'll be amazed. If you haven't visited yet, go there. And I guess it's time for our next section, recap. Why don't we recap? Let's go.
ECHO stands for English for Colombia, and it is an educational radio program designed to promote English language learning while exploring the cultural wealth of our country. It is designed for kids and presented by kids as well. Irene, Maxi, and Ramon are in charge. Throughout the program, they share their life stories, fun adventures, and interactions with other characters as they practice English. Remember to visit eco.colombiaaprende.edu.co to access other Echo Kids resources.
Okay, so let's recap. We have these techniques, these strategies that you can see here on screen. We have facilitate activities for the individual learning space. So what is our action step? So we need to apply an activity that has purpose, content, and practice. Remember that for the individual learning space, we have the low order thinking skills. We are helping students to understand, to remember. And then we have what the magic happens when we are facilitating activities for the group learning space. So we are incorporated charts, diagrams to promote group work. And at the same time, students are learning language, they are using the language, and at the same time, they become autonomous of their own learning process. So do not forget, become magicians in the classroom. We can give them, the students, different opportunities to learn the language, not only one way, a linear way. With a choice board, that will be amazing because students can use activity to keep the students engaged and motivated. So choice boards are a great way to keep your students engaged and, of course, motivated. So do not forget this summary of information, these 3 techniques and the action steps that you can incorporate or continue incorporating in your classes. So teachers, thank you. Thank you so much for your time. We hope that you have learned a new strategy, a new activity. Thank you so much for your participation in the chat. So John, it's time for questions, right?
Yeah, definitely. Questions and comments too.
Wow.
Yes. You know what Wilfredo Espejo wrote in the chat? He said they're excellent resources, and this is very important. That's why I'm saying it. They're very important resources in the series Way to Go and English, please. All of them about project-based learning. So thank you very much, Wilfredo. Definitely, those are a set of materials created for the teachers in different grades that you are teaching. So that's a good comment I wanted to highlight. And you know what? There's this kind of question and comment, Juliana, by Andrea Patricia Ruiz Moreno. She's she's saying something about the Bloom taxonomy. She says like, well, I remember some things about the Bloom taxonomy, and she knows this is a pyramid and has some characteristics. But I guess her question goes like this: why is the Bloom taxonomy so relevant in this flip learning uh, modality or strategy? And I guess you've talked about, and previously, a couple of weeks ago, we also talked about, but I guess it's so relevant, Juliana, because talking about the personal space of a student and the sharing space, either face-to-face classes or synchronous classes. It's important to talk about that connection between the Bloom taxonomy and flip learning, especially in a student-centered approach.
Yes, well, the Bloom's taxonomy, as I said before, it's also incorporated in this approach because it's a meta strategy. This is a meta strategy where all the strategies come together. So Bloom's taxonomy is one of them. So this resource is to help us out to design the classes. So flip learning, it's not always about technology. It's about walking students through and also helping them to go from the basic skill that it's low order thinking skill and go beyond that with the high order thinking skill, because sometimes we don't have time in class, so we are always remembering and understanding, and sometimes we have like some time to apply, but there is no time for being creative or to evaluate our own process or the student's process. So that's why we incorporate the Bloom's taxonomy. That's why we flip the Bloom's taxonomy for the group and the individual learning spaces.
I guess who agrees with what you said and is just here on the chat? Carolina Rodriguez Buitrago, who was also
Yes.
Our expert invited in a couple of sessions 3 weeks ago, I guess.
Yeah.
And she writes, awesome masterclass. I know she totally agrees with what you said. Okay, I guess it's also a good time to invite our guest teachers, because I know they have questions and I love to hear what they have to say.
Thank you. Yes.
Eleazar, are you around?
Eleazar and Juliet. Yeah.
Juliet, are you around?
Sure.
Here they
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So, the next section, okay? Questions and answers. Stay tuned.
I have a question.
Okay, I have two questions for Professor
Wonderful.
Juliana. Okay, you first, teacher Juliet.
Go ahead. Ask one, then I ask, then you
Okay,
ask
okay.
the second.
Okay.
Okay,
can ask.
Professor Juliana. Okay, my first question is, why is it important to promote speaking activity in our classroom?
Yeah. Why is it important?
Yeah.
Well, we have speaking a skill could be oral production or interaction. So
Yeah.
giving students the opportunity to do both of them or to use the language in these type of activities, it's because students are practicing all skills at the same time. We are checking if students understand, for example, grammar, also that students are using vocabulary in a real context, and at the same time we are guiding students to improve the pronunciation or intonation. So it's really nice to see students that meaningfully are using the language for a real context or specific context. So that's why we have to give them always this type of practice in the class.
Okay. Yes.
Well, mine goes with motivation that we were talking about. Do you have a piece of advice for when I have planned an activity that I think is motivating, but students don't find it that way? It has happened to me many times. Once I was teaching 11th grade, and when I was with 11th one, they were so motivated playing. And when I went to the other classroom, the other 11th 2, they were like, ah, no, teacher, that's so boring. I don't
That's
want
so
to play.
boring.
I found it so frustrating. I said, oh my God, it's the same activity. And it was, even for me, it was motivating, but students
Mhm.
didn't find it that way.
Yeah.
What to do?
Yeah, sometimes, well, I was reading a book talking about that, that sometimes we plan our class and say, okay, that's going to work. This activity is top. But no, it depends. It depends on our students' variances. Sometimes our classes or the students themselves are universal. So they are different from each other. What we have to do is to, okay, first, don't freak out and start thinking about making some changes. We need to have a plan B all the time, same as with technology. Sometimes our microphones don't work, internet connection doesn't work, so we need to have a plan B, but it doesn't mean that you have to have another activity. Maybe you can change the instruction, maybe you can incorporate a song so they can feel, or maybe an activity in which they can start stretching, and then, okay, now it's time, now that they have
Mhm.
energy, it's time to play. So sometimes we need to change instructions from the activity, and sometimes we need to incorporate different ways so students then feel motivated, engaged, and happy to be there. Doesn't mean that they don't like it, maybe they are not ready for the activity.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for your questions. And last but not least, Eleazar, you have another question, right?
Okay. So the second question is how to have English practice spaces for our student outside of school.
Outside school. So,
Not in the
uh-huh.
school, but outside of the school.
What you guys are doing, handouts. Handouts is a great way to do that, because you are, something that I love about what you mentioned before is that you are incorporating instructions in a video. Continue
Yeah.
doing that. Now you can start recording yourself presenting content or vocabulary. So giving them students, remember, for them to understand or to remember a specific content or specific topic. So the idea is that they are always practicing on that topic. So in class, they have the opportunity to practice or have this semi-controlled practice or free practice. So they are going beyond and using the language meaningfully.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your questions. Thank you so much.
Um, Juliana, I have. I'm sorry. I don't know if you have teachers more questions, or I can use some of the questions from the audience.
I think we are ready for the audience.
All right, great. Well, in the line of what we were discussing about flipped learning on the Bloom taxonomy, Olga Lucia Quitien asks a very interesting question. She talks about the can flipped learning be considered a learning to learn strategy? And I want to stop here because as us as language teachers, we worry a lot about the language, about the vocabulary, the grammar, the function of the language, which is totally important. I mean,
Mhm.
you cannot be language teachers or promote language learning if you're not focused on making students learn the language,
Mhm.
speak the language, use the language. However, there is this other concern on the other hand, like, can we use English or language learning to promote other cognitive strategies? In this case,
Mhm.
learning to learn. It's not only about languages, English, but it's something that goes beyond that. It's a cognitive thing. It's a metacognitive thing.
Mhm.
So I want, with this context in mind and the question from the audience, Juliana, how can this flip learning, connected with Bloom's taxonomy, fosters metacognitive skills like learning to learn, and why would learning to learn be relevant for language teaching?
Of course, because thank you for the question, teacher, and thank you, John. Well, first of all, we need to take into account that when we are learning a language, it's not only about vocabulary and grammar and the skills that we had mentioned before. It's when we use the language to communicate or to start giving a critical perspective of different topics. So when we are giving students topics that are related to our lives, so we start like starting from the basic topics like what we practiced before, fruit, vegetables. But how about if we start thinking about the problems that we have in Colombia? For example, there are some classes with my students at the university, which is a different context in which they start thinking about how to solve issues related to economy. So the language is a way to communicate. That's what matters the most. So we need to give them the opportunities to connect their lives, to connect their students' problems, try to solve the problems that they have at home. So talk about the environmental issues, for example. So in that sense, they are using the language to solve an issue, to give an opinion. So in that way, students are learning the language and going beyond the basic information that we have about it, which are the skills.
Yeah.
Great, great. Now I'm sorry that I have so many questions, but these were from the audience. But I have a question. I was reflecting on the title of this masterclass. It's designing and engaging student-centered English language learning environments. I've also had the chance to be a teacher, of course, but also a consultant, and I've had a chance to be in many language classes around Colombia. And when we talk to teachers, they know, I mean, the theory, and they know the importance of having student-centered classes. They plan for that, or they think they are planning for a student-centered class. But when you see the execution of that planning and that curriculum, we also see that they know it, but it's not happening. I would like to ask you that, because you also have the expertise leading and training teachers in different parts of Colombia. So why do you think that happens?
Well, I think it's related to what we said before. It's related to mindset. And sometimes we need to start incorporating our colleagues, inviting them to observe our classes. Maybe they can give us more strategies. They can give us some heads up on the things that we need to change. And sometimes we are afraid of not giving the students the opportunity to work on their own. Sometimes we want to be like in front of the class, having all this knowledge and send this information to them. But when we do that outside the class, we will have the opportunity. We can do that, which is direct instruction, and that's perfect. But we can incorporate in class with the students to use the language in a meaningful way, as I said before. So we are starting to change our mindset towards our role. It means that we become like a guide, helping them with the activities, giving them the opportunities for feedback, because sometimes we don't have the time for that. We are always okay. We need to have a quiz because we need a grade. But how about the process? Having this like a choice board, these opportunities or this type of activities, students can or the teacher, sorry, can help students to identify their mistakes, solve these problems, and then they can master a topic. So giving them a lot of opportunities, that will be a nice way to do that.
Okay, Juliana, thank you very much. I really want to thank you. And we have no more questions, neither from the teachers, our guest teachers, or the audience. We have a couple of them, but we have a recommendation. Okay, our friend Carolina Rodriguez Buitrago, she's recommending a book. Please, teachers, you're there, go to the chat.
Yeah.
There you can find it. Differentiated Instruction Made Practical: Engaging the Extremes through Classroom Routines by Rhonda Blondie and Akane Susho. If you're
Well,
interested in having a further reading, teachers, go there. Carolina Rodriguez Buitrago is recommending this book, Differentiate Instruction Made Practical.
it's a great
Okay,
book.
I guess I haven't read it, but I know you have, and Carolina has too. Um, Juliana, there's gratitude, just gratitude for this session that you have led today. I really want to ask production to let us have the teachers here on the screen just to say goodbye before we invite
Yes,
everybody
please.
to our next session on the next master class.
Yeah, we would like to
Are
have the
they are they
teachers.
are they around?
Yeah, Eliezer.
Yes, they're
Yes.
coming.
Here I am.
Here I am.
Teachers,
Okay.
thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
so
Thank
much for
you.
your participation. I mean, this strategy wouldn't be the same without you. You know
Yeah.
why? Because you're the voice of the teachers, because you're representing them, because you bring the best practices and your experience from your territories. In this case, we have Monteria and we have Antioquia. We have had teachers from other parts of Colombia, but you're so valuable here because you're the voice of the teachers. I really want to thank you, and we want to thank Juliana also. I don't know if you want to say goodbye to our teachers, or audience.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, teachers. It was a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for your time and sharing your experiences. Thank you so much.
Thanks for inviting me.
Okay, teacher, thank you for the invitation. It was a pleasure to know such a people like you. Yeah.
No, Eliezer, the pleasure is ours. Come on, come on. Okay, we
No,
don't
no,
you
teacher,
you
this is a
cannot.
great opportunity, and my colleagues in the school are proud of me. Yes, we are
Yeah, of
proud. We
course.
have,
Definitely,
yeah,
they
yeah,
must be
yes,
proud of you, of course, of
yeah,
course.
yes,
But
and
you
we
know
are
what?
proud of our institution and our all English Colombia English teacher. Yes, because the work is not easy, but it is possible. It is possible to get
Mhm.
our student to speak English.
Yes, it's full of challenges,
Yeah.
and what changes the situation from a problem to a challenge is the mindset, as Juliana said, and it's our attitude towards it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you're seeing the screen right now. We're inviting you for next class. Don't miss out. Okay, everybody, you should welcome invite other teachers to this next masterclass number 9 on September 8th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's going to be in Spanish. Cómo
Okay.
reimaginar el aprendizaje del inglés a través de la experiencia del juego. We're going to have Isabel Tejada. That's going to be good. She's very, very good. Especialista en pedagogía de lenguas, e interculturalidad, playful learning. And I'm going to be with you again, John Pulido, as the moderator. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody out there. Don't forget, register to get your certificate. Invite more teachers. The community is growing. Thank you, Helena. Thank you, our guest teachers. Goodbye. See you next week. Don't miss out. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye. God bless you
Goodbye.
all.